we're in Mexico City, right? And the show started. And during the first band, the guy wanted to like show us around a little bit. So we went and got some food and saw how beautiful the city is, blah, blah, blah. We come back and like there's all these kids poured out into the street. There's cops everywhere and they got like their fucking little Uzis and stuff, dude, like military style. We're like, shit, show's getting fucking shut down. And then all of a sudden it was like, gone. Oh, everybody's go back to business as normal. And like the cops just came and saw that the show was successful, so they just fucking tried to shut it down. And the dude gave him half the take for the night, and the cops left.
What
crazy.
the fuck, dude? Holy
yeah.
shit!
So then there was this like upstairs venue, and they crammed like 4 times the amount of people that should be in there.
Welcome to the 186th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where we interview bands and public figures from the Mathcore adjacent community. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, do all the things social. Every little bit helps. And feel free to join us every Sunday and Wednesday for the live cast so you can interact with the guests in real time or just hang out in the chat. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel for just $5. Get you access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as it gets you some exclusive emotes. This is the second time I've been through this. You can tell I am tripping over myself here. But you can also do that for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. With that out of the way, let me introduce my guest today who dropped their first album in about 14 years, Distractions, back on Friday through Good Fight Music. Welcome and see you next Tuesday. How's it going, guys?
Super duper.
Hey.
Hey, all right.
Hey. Second time through. Second time's a charm, man.
Yeah, whatever.
Love James's look.
Let's do it. Let's do everything twice. I don't care.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
I'm going to do the whole thing like this.
What are you guys doing tomorrow night?
So,
Eating pizza?
let's go around and get you guys introduced. Tell everybody what you do in the band. Yeah.
Let's
Oh, hey there.
Yeah, it's this guy first, right up there.
Oh, you're over
Us.
here.
Oh,
It's different. Where are you?
I don't know,
You're down
man. Yeah, you're above me. I can see
Okay,
it. Sort of.
yeah. I am above
All right,
you.
we're getting synced. I'm getting used to this. You know, I'm spying at myself from myself in the past. And, all right, go ahead.
I'm Fox. I do stuff.
What is the stuff that you do?
Vocalings.
Oh yeah. Somebody
Pass.
else?
I'm Drew. I play the guitars.
I'm Jimmy, and I do the blast beating.
Alrighty. So Drew, you're the only original member from way back in the day, is that right?
That is correct, Chris.
Alrighty. How did this all come together?
I wanted to play guitar in a band, so I bought a guitar and started a band. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of really cool bands around the time when I started, you know, and I wanted to put my input into the world, I suppose. But yeah, literally, like I had been playing bass in bands up until then, or something, you know, but guitar. And I was only like 19 or 20 or something. I bought my first guitar, and yeah, this was my first attempt at playing a guitar in a band. So, boom, started a guitar, got a hold of Andy Dalton, was our first drummer. And I literally, like, we sat down, like, learned a blast beat together, like, you know, like Googled it. Well, not Googled it because it was 2004. But, you know, whatever we had, I don't even remember. Maybe it was like
Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, Ask Jeeves about it, or yahoo.com did probably.
So you had to find like an instructional, like step-by-step thing of how to do a blast beat, or
I don't necessarily have any idea. I'm just making shit up. No, for real. Like we kind of just learned it together. Actually, it was just kind of experience with other bands eventually that, like, I think Andy found the proper way to really do a blast beat. But like in the very get-go, you know, you're just doing like one hand can go pretty fast, the other one will catch up later type of thing. So, but suffice it to say, I mean, we wrote around that. So, I mean, if you listen to like This Was a Tragedy EP, you know, there's not like a lot of blasting there. But At least
Uh,
not in the traditional sense.
I had heard that y'all formed as like a joke. Is that a thing or no?
Well, like the name was a joke, you know what I mean? And like the seriousness of it was a joke. You know, we just, like I said, I bought a guitar. Andy was a guitar player. I was a bass player. I played guitar. He played drums. You know what I mean? So it was like a ragtag crew of playing the wrong instruments. And we had a goofy name that was a pseudo acronym for cunt. So, you know, that was the extent of the joke. You know, I mean, we took our musicianship seriously. You know, like I'm not going to go embarrass myself. Well, you know, not on purpose anyway. So like I practiced, you know, put it that way.
So y'all released This Was a Tragedy and the Summer Sampler in 2005. Who's the guy on the art for the Summer Sampler? I always wondered that.
That was Chad Linger from, does he work now?
I have no idea. Who
Are-
this is.
Are you asking who the guy is?
Oh, in the
or who-
art. I'm sorry,
who
in the
did it?
art on the cover. Like who that person is on the cover.
Chad Linger just made that character up.
Oh, it's
just
just
drew that.
something. Okay.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
there
that guy.
yeah, no, that was just something he
Okay.
drew. Honestly,
Just a person.
he was in a stage in his life where he was just drawing so much stuff. And I'm sure he is now because he's a tattooer, so he's drawn that
Yeah.
stuff. But you know, like he's an established tattooer because of that stuff.
He is a phenomenal tattooer.
Phenomenal
Insane.
tattooer. Yeah.
I always
Well,
thought it
back
was some
then-
sort of politician or something like that. But so it's just a random person then.
No, yeah, it was just one of those things where he had a lot of stuff laying around or a lot of ideas, and we just kind of extrapolated and chose and came across that. So, anyways.
Before we get going here, I just want to shout out some of the chatters we got going on here. Guy couldn't tell you. Don't stress. Flower press in the house. 8 dead 9 if you count the TY, the thank you.
It's got to be Ryan Peter, right?
Well, then Ryan Peters right after that. So I guess
Oh.
that one's not.
Oh, someone else took 8 dead 9 if you count the something.
Ty. His name could be Ty.
Oh yeah, duh,
Or-
Ty or Derp.
It could be the tie.
It could be the
Or
Ty.
his name could be Thank You.
Shout
I
out to
think
Don't
it-
Stress Flower Press. What's up, baby?
Oh, thanks for the gifted subs. And hey, Jim from Sunflowers in here too. So after that, you guys got way more serious. It seems like, or at least everything kind of started blowing up for y'all with Parasite in 2007. How did y'all get the attention of Ferret, and how did y'all like start making things on a bigger scale?
I guess you know, the Summer Sampler had a lot to do with it, and you know, MySpace had a lot to do with it. I mean, I don't necessarily love the moniker MySpace band, but you know, we were a band that utilized MySpace. You know, and during that era, I say this time and time again, but there are so many insanely killer bands that came out during that time. I mean, if you think about it, you know, like I could go on and on. From a Second Story Window, Sawtooth Grit, Number 12 Looks Like You, you know, like all these bands were just like up and coming all simultaneously. And we're obviously a little later to the boat, I think. But you know, suffice it to say, there's all these like super great bands that were just popping up left and right. And it was all on MySpace. It was the platform to do that on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was like the dawn of social media. So yeah, we're a MySpace band because we were around that time. You know, that was 16, 17 years ago. Of course, that's what we had. You know, Facebook wasn't even a thought yet. I think Mark Zuckerberg was like, what, 12 or something?
So are you saying that like y'all got the attention of Ferret because of how well y'all were doing on MySpace then?
It was the fact that we were using MySpace, getting plays. You know, we were touring. You know, I booked like these DIY tours on MySpace, right?
Right.
Our bass player that we're playing with now, Rick Woods, him and I lived together in Bay City, Michigan years back, and we had a garage. We called it the Very Awesome Garage in the northern area. Of course, you know, vagina, because, you know, we use acronyms. And we just did like show trades. Actually, that's how I originally met Jimmy. And I'll let him tell that story later. But his old band, the Heartland, we traded shows. He's down in
Oh,
Columbus,
you were in the
Ohio.
Heartland? What the fuck? Dude, that's sick. Holy shit. Okay, anyway.
So yeah, we just offered bands trades, and we met a lot of really cool bands for doing that. And obviously we're a band in Michigan, so we knew people in other parts of Michigan. Fox was in another band called Flesh and Blood Robot, from like the Lansing, Grand Rapids area. So like we always had like some sort of show trade system set up, and we did like 2 30-day tours, like out west and back. Just doing that, trading shows with people on MySpace, or just finding random kids to let us play in their fucking kitchen. I don't care. We did whatever we could, sold a t-shirt or two, and, sold a summer sampler. And yeah, it was that time that Ferret and Victory and Trustkill, these labels were just starting to cherry pick bands. And the bands that were out there proving themselves were the ones that were getting snagged. Unfortunately, there are some really great bands that didn't necessarily take off because they didn't leave their own area. You know what I mean? Bands like Robinson that should have just been fucking huge, but it is what it is. Like they, stuff happens. But then, from a Second Story Window, same thing. They worked hard behind the scenes, DIY style as well, and a label snagged them up without question. So yeah, that's how Ferret came to fruition. It's just seeing the hard work and proving yourself. Because a label's not going to sign a band that's not going to hit the road at all, except for now, because everybody knows we're old and we're not going to be doing 9,000 tours this year. So, but they don't care because we're older now and it's different. It's a different time. Like. The internet has come so far nowadays. So,
Ryan in chat says, "Did you guys have a label in mind, or did Ferret just kind of fall in your lap?"
Honestly, we had a couple other things like smaller labels. I don't actually remember it now that I think about it. But Ferret was like the first real offer that came to the table. And it's funny because I was just thinking about this the other day. I remember calling Travis Martin, who was the bass player at the time, Parasite, and through intervals. I remember like getting this email from Carl Severson offering us a record contract. And I called Travis up. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like every time I die, Life Once Lost, like all these bands, like, I'm looking around, like I'm probably wearing a Life Once Lost shirt, and Travis has probably, got Poison the Well stuff on his body somewhere, socks or something. And, it's wild, like it was a surreal moment for sure. And honestly, right during that period, some other stuff kind of came up. And as well, because I think a lot of people just started noticing or whatever. But we were so just like right from the get-go. As soon as we saw Ferret, we were just like, man, like, do you know how many bands I've learned about because of this fucking label?
Right. It's like, screw everything else, we're going with them.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, like, for me, the only other label that had any like much nostalgia to it, I guess you'd say, it would be like Relapse. If Relapse or Ferret were like the two that, like, if either of those got a hold of us, and and this Ferret, so super cool because we haven't been upset yet about it.
So just real quick, back in high school, which was when when I was in high school, which is when you guys were starting to take off, I never listened to this stuff. Actually, it wasn't until like just 2016 when I started listening to this type of music, which that's like 7 years after I graduated. So I was like way after this stuff ended or whatever. And I was starting to make music, and I was in a rut, and everything started sounding the same. And I was like, man, what were those kids listening to back in the day? First album I put on for mathcore was Parasite, and that changed everything for me. Literally, I would not be making this music if it was not for Parasite. So I just wanted to say that, get that out there. It was it changed my life. Seriously, my logo, the Sound That Ends Creation logo, is modeled after y'all's logo. Like when I was talking to the artist for it, I was like, copy this, and sent them this Tuesday logo.
Well, to give it away, Fox did that by just blowing ink out of pens. So
Is that true?
Yeah, I bought a box of Bic pens, and I'd take the ink thing out, like the tube with all the ink in it, and I'd cut the writing part off, and I'd just blow the ink out on paper, and just kind of smear it around and make the letters like as I'm blowing it. Yeah.
That's so sick.
you didn't you make that in the studio?
No, I made it in Rick's mom's house
Oh, okay.
in
It was-
her living room. I think I
Yeah.
still have the original of that.
Ooh.
That's crazy. What the
Ryan
fuck?
Peter just went. Boing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How many takes did it take until you got like the perfect one?
It's just the first one.
Really? What the fuck?
Yeah, and then I
That's so cool.
scanned it in, and I think I did like "See You Next" and then Tuesday, in two separate parts. Then that's why we have either the straight logo or the stacked logo, because I just like
Okay.
photoshopped it together.
Ryan said he's very excited.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's crazy. You should definitely post pictures of like what that looks like. That's fucking. That's such a cool way to come up with the logo. I'm sorry. You guys are fucking great.
Everybody,
But yeah, that was another reason why I wanted to copy what you guys were doing with your logo, because it's so different from the other bands. Everybody else had either like a very clean logo with like a lot of times it was like typeface or whatever, but still very clean, or it was like the super brutal ones where you couldn't read it, and y'all had like this thing that's kind of in the middle. So I always thought your logo was fucking sick.
You know, it's funny because when Fox and I talked about the inspiration for our logo, it was the original Converge logo, is what we tried to rip off.
Okay.
Like not
But different.
the block one that they have now,
Right.
but like
yeah, the older one that was kind of splattery.
Rinkin Stitch says it cannot be crocheted, so I guess somebody was trying to crochet your logo.
oh yeah, Rick's Aunt Teal. Hey Aunt Teal.
Oh yeah,
So then there was a big lineup change up around this time, right? And we got Fox involved. I'm assuming James. Yeah, James, you were on this later stuff, right? You're not new here, right? Okay.
I'm new. I'm brand new.
Oh, you are. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
But you still changed out a lot of pieces. It seemed like you got a new bass player in 2008 and stuff. If Rate Your Music is correct.
We went through a lot of bass players over the years. Quick little lineup timeline I can throw out for you. So going
Please.
into Parasite, actually going into the contract signing, we'll just start there because Ferret offered it, and the current lineup was Andy Dalton, myself, Travis Martin, which Travis at that time was the third bass player. Because we had Adam Payne before him, and then Rick Woods, who's doing bass with us now, was our second bass player. And then he couldn't tour, so Travis took over. And Travis was with us the longest during that time frame. So yeah, going into the contract was, and then we had our old singer Bear. So third bass player, original drummer, original guitar player, me, and then singer. And then right after we signed the contract, Bear got cold feet and been on a tour, which, whatever. It's not. I can't make somebody, so it is what
Right.
it is.
Well,
He
it's not
wants
for
to, he didn't
everybody
want to.
either.
Yeah, and Fox did want to. He was in, like I said, Flesh and Blood Robot at the time, and we just asked him. It was like, "Hey, your band's currently awesome, but would you want to tour a whole bunch?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm super jealous that you fucking shitheads got signed and not us." So yeah,
I'd actually already left Flesh and Blood at that time, like a month
Oh.
prior.
he was mad.
Oh.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Jesus. Jesus.
Hold on.
Oh, you're still
Can you
here.
hear
Okay,
me?
we just can't see you. All right.
Hello.
There you are. How's it going?
Hello.
So you were saying?
What the heck happened? Can you guys hear me?
What?
We can see you
I
and
can't
hear
hear you
you.
guys now.
What?
Q taps.
So you can't hear us then?
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I
there
got
we
it now. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My interface decided to restart.
Whee!
Well, you're here now.
Anyway, so yeah, Fox had apparently just quit, and this was literally like weeks going into the studio. And we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so then the lineup changed. We got our second singer, which is Fox. He's been with the band since. No other replacement singers. And then Travis dropped off shortly after Intervals. And we got Cooter on bass, or Josh Kruger is his name. He was our merch guy for a long time, and he just kind of jumped to bass. And then he finished out the last few tours with us, as well as we had a final drummer for the last couple tours. Jake Buhane took over on drums for, I think, 2 or 3 tours. It was like one Europe tour and a couple mainland tours. I think he did Costa Rica with us too, or something, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's sick going to Costa Rica.
Yeah, and
Fucking
then
dope.
during Distractions, to kind of give you a timetable on that, Andy, Rick, myself, and Fox were the lineup that kind of reformed back together in 2015. Our first show offer for something that we actually said yes to. Travis was living in, I think, California at the time. So we just asked Rick, and he was like, fuck it, I guess. So Jimmy didn't join into the band until after I turned in the masters to the record, actually. So that was June of 22 is when he jumped in. He's just been a friend forever.
Oh,
Did you mention that Cooter was playing bass for us for a minute after the reunion stuff?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Right away.
Yeah.
That's right. Because he played that Don't Call It a Fest.
Yeah.
And then Rick played. Yeah. So Cooter did come back for a minute.
I have a message from Chunks Barkley in the chat. Was the longest running bass player using a 6-string? Very specific question, but I guess something to answer.
I don't think so. Was Travis?
Travis's main bass was a PV Cirrus 5-string. Rick Woods was the only one that used a 6-string, and that was pre-Parasite. So that was Summer Sampler days. It's 2005 to date.
So, y'all moved from Parasite to Intervals, which you dropped in 2008. Massive style change, I would say, anyways. What made y'all want to like step away from that other sound on Parasite? I guess, was it y'all trying to be more mature or whatever? Were y'all trying to like kick away the deathcore tag, or how did that all come about? Because I would say it's much more heavier, a little bit more musical, I would say. Yeah.
Fox?
So all the songs on Parasite, well, the majority of them, were written by See You Next Tuesday. What would you say, Drew? Like 2-3 years prior to those being recorded for Parasite?
Well, yeah, because Parasite was recorded at the end of 2016. The Summer
2006.
Sampler. Or yeah, I'm sorry, 2006. Those were recorded in December 2006. We released the Summer Sampler summer of 2005, and I had those songs written for a year prior. So yeah, roughly like 1.5 to 2 years we've been playing those songs already.
Yeah. So we, all that stuff, it was new to everybody when Parasite came out, but they were new to me too, because I just went into the studio and recorded it with them. But, I think only 2 of those songs that are on that album were actually written in the studio, and it's very apparent which 2 they are. And they're the ones that sound more like Intervals.
Right. The last 2, right?
I guess it's
Paraphilia?
technically, Paraphilia, and then Paganach Free Part 1 and 2. But yeah, so going into Intervals a year later, that was like the new us, and it was more of a group effort. It was like all of us trying to come up with ideas to write an album as fast as we could, really. Because normally the writing process for Drew takes quite a long time. So we had to kind of like work together to write a new album. So that was a mixture of new, mature us plus, like a team effort on writing.
Yeah, like I
So
mean, you look at
that's why it sounds so different.
I mean, you look at like the drums in intervals, for example. Like Andy he spent a lot of time writing those parts. You know, a lot of like the Summer Sampler stuff, Eight Dead, Honey. You know, like those drum parts are stuff that I came up with, and then I worked them out with him. But I mean, for the most part, like Parasite stuff, even to the drums, was stuff that I conceived first and then had worked out with Andy. But like intervals, he put his own stuff in. He really had some free reign. Again, we wrote that together. Like, there were times when like Andy, Travis, and I just sat in a garage and like fucking hung out for days on end. So there was a lot of other people's stuff that was included. You know, not that weirdly enough, it got way more grindy because I was listening to a lot more of that style of stuff. You know, that period of my life, I had discovered a lot more of some of my favorite bands still, like Regurgitate and Rotten Sound and Origin, and you know, a lot of those types of bands started appearing, and I was listening to less, you know, the MySpace stuff or whatever. So I mean, that had something to do with it too. But again, what I was saying is, I mean, you listen to like Dedication to New Era, you know, this song that's like super duper simple on guitar, but there's like these really cool drums. Like that's all stuff that Andy had wrote, you know. So I mean, there's just more flavor to the record because of it. It sound darker for sure, but I also, you know, we went and recorded with the dude that records all the Suffocation records, and we sent it off to the guitar player from Pig Destroyer to master. Like we wanted, going into it, we wanted it to be a metal record, not whatever we were on Parasite record, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would call
so
y'all.
Over being lumped into like this weird group of bands that we didn't feel like we were anything like, you know. So
I assume people called y'all deathcore and shit back in the day, but like
I don't think it really exists.
That.
I don't think it really existed yet, because like, you know, we toured with Suicide Silence and Job for a Cowboy, you know, like I don't think that they called them deathcore at the time, because I remember even some people calling like Suicide Silence like nu metal, because, you know, Garza and the other dude always wore like Korn jerseys and stuff, you know, which is awesome because I fucking love Slipknot and Korn, you know, that's like my bread and butter. But I don't, like I said, I don't remember being ever called deathcore. I don't think that term really came up until it was much past.
It did after Intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we get it now. We definitely get told that we are now. We're definitely false grind, for sure.
False grind. I like that.
It's weird. I you know, when you talk about genres, metal is such a weird a thing, you know, like no other like culture of music is so like accepting but so judgy. Like you can't there's certain genres that like if you extrapolate too far away from its core, such as, you know, like true hardcore, you know, if you take too far away and add too much metal to the core, and all of a sudden everyone hates it. You know, and it's the same with grindcore, you know, like if you take too much out of the grindcore equation, there's like a whole group of people out there that's like, that's fucking not grindcore, get out of here with that. Yeah. I'm like, whatever, man. We're like 50%, maybe at best.
But especially back in the day when y'all were like getting going, like there was definitely a whole like true death metal and shit against like deathcore and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
Cattle Decapitation released that shirt, Gore Not Core, and had like the target on like the dude doing karate in the pit or whatever.
And for us, we've never cared, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna push mosh or you're gonna fucking jump around or do spin kicks or whatever, we're not ones to say what you want to do, you know what I mean? Like just have fun, you know what I mean? I don't care what that looks like. We can go on a 30-day tour back then, and every destination people would react differently, right? Because every region has a different reaction. I don't care if it's the music shouldn't drive your reaction. If it makes your body move, fucking let it.
Right. Andrew Holiday in chat says, y'all's just a great band, and that's the only label I care about.
Damn.
We love
straight.
Andrew. Hi,
Aw.
Andrew.
Damn.
Go listen,
straight.
everyone go listen to Mouthful Locust. That's Andrew from his band, Mouthful
Oh,
Locust.
that's him. What's up,
Yeah.
dude?
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
So distractions. It's not Parasite again, but I don't think you're trying to do that. Sort of picking off where intervals left off. I'd say you're going in almost more of like an atonal death metal direction, sort of. It's definitely heavier. There are a little bit of like noodly, like weird guitar parts that I feel like you didn't have as much going on in intervals. So it's nice to see a little bit of this back. And like, why can't you behave? And glad to be unhappy. I have a lot of notes, by the way. I don't know if you could. But you also have actual guitar solos in here, which is something that
Yeah.
you don't really see in a lot of like bands. Even if you go into like more tonal death metal and stuff, it's not a huge thing. But especially in like mathcore and shit. I also like the new vocals. Every now and then you do like the yelling style instead of just screaming, which I think is fucking great. Adds to the tension a lot more. And
Thanks.
there's a lot more
Thanks,
of a
Ben.
almost black metal influence, I guess I would say.
Oh yeah.
Way
Oh,
more
yeah.
blasting going on, a lot more like atmosphere happening. Let's see. And also I like the more experimental shit that y'all are doing, like on the guitar. Like in the beginning of I'll Never Smile Again and the end of This Happy Madness. Almost like I don't know, in I'll Never Smile Again, it's almost like it's like broken sort of. I don't know how to describe it.
Which part? The
I want to
clean
say it's
thing?
like the second guitar riff, like the second section of that song.
Is it like the clean riff? Like it sounds like circus
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Circus
yeah.
riffs.
But Never Smile Again. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, we have a Facebook group. Some fan of ours. Is it John Lund? I think is his name. He made us a Facebook group called See You Next Tuesday Grind Posting. So if anybody out there wants to follow it, Jimmy and I are relatively active in it, but I actually posted a video in there last night of me playing that riff. So if you want to see it, kind of how I do that. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun experimenting. That's for fucking sure.
He has a sick mandolin solo in it too.
That's This Happy Madness. Yeah, at the end there, the
really?
little diddling you hear is a mandolin.
That's sick.
Yeah. Actually, there's a mandolin on every record.
Is it really, or are you? There's
That's
no
real.
shot.
Yeah. In Intervals, that Nascence, the very intro track to Intervals, that screeching weirdness, that's a mandolin. And then in Dedication to New Era too, that's that high pitched squealing at the end there when Chris's vocals stop. That's also a mandolin.
What the fuck? That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
What about on Parasite? You said every record is another.
Yeah, it's on Pogo Part 2. I don't remember. I don't listen to that record as much.
That's wild. But yeah, you also did some crazy electronic shit on here. Call Me Irresponsible. Is that all electronic?
Well,
I guess the drums are
Besides
probably
my
real.
voice.
Oh yeah, besides
Foxes is real. All the drum sample, like there's acoustic drums in there.
Okay. It just seemed like it was like almost like a cyber grind thing that was happening here, and I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun like that. Those two songs, Glad to Be Unhappy and Call Me Irresponsible. Both of them are started with an audio, like a audio track of drums. So they all started with acoustic drums. That song in particular, Call Me Irresponsible, I literally just in Ableton you can select the tracks and bounce it to a MIDI track. So then like I had all the MIDI information there. And then I just replaced the notes with sound effects. So like the snare, instead of a snare hitting, it was like this, distorted blippity blop. And that's, like I replaced one of the crash cymbals with that kind of like high pitched squealing that sounds like the singer from The Body. That's whatever screeching that is. I just replaced the crash cymbal. So, you're riding on the crash cymbal while you're playing that part, and it just creates that type of sound. So I just replaced. So then I would just, blend those two together. Obviously there's other elements in there that are kind of making it spicy, but at its core, that's all it is. It's just drums, and then just replacing or mixing those with hits of just samples, like all.
That's sick.
they're all just samples I made, like random, impact hits, and you just distort the shit out of it and it makes a weird fucking sound.
Hell yeah! I always thought like a combination of like I don't know, like almost power violence type shit with like cybergrind would be a really cool
Oh, yeah.
combination, and that's like sort of what you're doing here. So I think that's really badass.
Well, I love the whole cyber grind thing, like that Zombie Shark dude. I know
yeah.
I listened to his podcast you did with him. It was cool. I like the vibe that he's doing, but I felt for us, the at its core, like to keep our version of cyber grind or whatever, I wanted to keep the acoustic drums. And honestly, both of those songs kind of were extrapolated from I was listening to Phoenix in Flames by Converge, which I don't know if you're familiar with the song. It's the one where it's just the drummer playing through distortion in like a big reverb type of room, and it's just Jacob Bannon just relentlessly screaming over it. So like I kind of started there, and I remember sending it to Fox, and he's just like, "It's just drums." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, scream over it." He's like, "It's just drums." So then I kept adding elements and stuff, and eventually it was like, "Yeah, I'll scream over that."
So when you do it live, is it just a backing track with the drums happening and the screaming, or is it like you're manipulating your guitar or something like that?
We haven't done that song live yet. I know that I have it already kind of plotted out. Jimmy does use triggers live for his kick drum, which I use the same sample I made for Distractions. So he just porting that out to the crowd. But when it comes time to do that, we'll load in new drum samples for him. So he'll have that kind of more distorted kick drum sample for those two songs. And then I have a Eurorack and I have a sampler that we run live. So actually I do. And here's the thing too that I always wanted to do with this. I never wanted to create this record and play it live 100%. So like, for example, on the Bandit tour we're doing next weekend, we're doing a version of How Insensitive, the opening track of the record, but it's not the same. Like I just pulled the voices, made something in my Eurorack, and designed like my own soundscape for it live, just to have like more, more experience for the person that comes out and sees us live. You know what I mean?
You have a sample on here. I'm trying to remember the joke. It was I don't date demons anymore because they become too possessive. What's that from?
Oh, so that whole little story there for that track. First off, the two voices are from friends of mine. One's a coworker, Jared, and the other one's my good buddy, James. And all the voices and samples and stuff that you hear throughout Distractions are all stuff that I created in my studio. It's the laughter track in This Happy Madness. I took that from a royalty-free website, so don't sue me for that one. Yeah, all the voices and stuff, that was all stuff that I brought people into my house. Ex-members, my wife did a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that story is kind of telling both Fox and I's story of the record. His lyrics have inner meaning, and the reason I started writing this record had meaning. And Demon was kind of my cover for that. Like in that song, in that track, these two people having a conversation about demons, and one's kind of freaked out by it, and then the other person realizes that they're talking to their own demons. So it's kind of like me transforming into Fox in some way. And then at the end of that song, you hear me say, this is the only time I make an appearance in the record vocally. I say, how do you distract yourself from yourself? And I answer my own question. The last track, which is the entire side B, is Strange Music. That's how I distract myself.
Okay.
Too much information.
No, honestly, the lyrics, I'm not good with metaphoric lyrics, so it's good that you're like spelling things out for me. So I appreciate
Well,
it.
they're not even lyrics. It's literally like a play, you know, like I made this weird like play and it was meant to not really be heard. That's why I'm kind of talking about it. Because it's meant to be kind of buried. It's meant to just make you feel weird, you know, and intense, you know. So I like noises also, so there's that.
I like noises too.
Yeah, man.
So, what were your influences back in the day, and how has that evolved to now? Like, what are you listening to now as opposed to back in the day, and back in the day as opposed to now?
Fox's is way better. Let's have his talk for a second. So he doesn't listen
My
to
influences?
metal at all anymore. Or I don't even, you didn't
Not
even,
really.
you weren't even influenced
mean-
by metal back in the day. He writes poetry.
I mean, I was, but probably not the same stuff you guys were listening to. I mean, my big stuff back in the day, like Poison the Well, has always been like fucking huge for me. That Red Chord, From a Second Story Window, you know. So I was like kind of knee deep in some of the same stuff, but I don't know. That was so fucking long ago. I don't really remember too much. I mean, Converge has always been a huge one too, but and Dillinger, Jesus, maybe I do remember. And then, you know, going into now, I'll listen to stuff occasionally that's semi heavy, but I mean, what I listen to now is drastically different as an adult. Like I've got more into stuff like Radiohead and Tom York type stuff, and like Portishead, Bjork, Fiona Apple. Huge Queens of the Stone Age fan. I like more like doomier stoner type stuff too, like ISIS and Russian Circles and shit like that. So I going into this, like I wasn't in like a mind frame of writing like fucking kill everybody type shit, you know, like more like romantic aspects of writing.
Ryan Peter wants to hear Jimmy. Also, my wife's on, so I love you. You're adorable.
So how does the your hard rock like influences or whatever, I guess Queens of the Stone Age stuff like that, how does that influence your vocals, or does it at all?
Maybe not vocals, really, more writing. I mean, my vocals are always just gonna probably be, you know, I've always been influenced by people like Nate Johnson. He used to sing for Through the Eyes, but I know him more so for like Dead Water Drowning and Premonitions of War. And then
I had no idea that those bands shared the same vocalist. Like, that's crazy.
He bounced around to a lot of different bands. And then, you know, Guy from the Red Chord, and also Gunface from the Red Chord, stuff like that, you know. So that's what I kind of go for vocally most of the time. And then Trevor from BDM, huge influence. So you know, those are always what I try and emulate a little bit, you know, but it's definitely over the past 20 years just kind of found its way into, I just know what to do for myself, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Probably
no, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Everything like kind of comes together and is a piece to the puzzle, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really like listen to other stuff to try and get ideas vocally, you know. It's just kind of, it is what it comes out as now. But I'll listen to other stuff for ideas for writing, and you know, try and think of like ways people tell stories through lyrics. I like that. Like Minus the Bear does that really well. Or even like kind of like hip hop stuff, like Atmosphere is a really good storyteller, and Aesop Rock and stuff like that.
Your lyrics like kind of remind me of Circle Takes the Square in a way where it's like
I love that band.
I don't know, like super metaphoric and stuff, and like they're beautiful to read, but I like it. I don't know, that type of stuff. It doesn't like drill into my head very. Like I'm not sure like what's happening a lot of the times, unfortunately. But I got that kind of feeling from you. You ever like listen to Circle Takes the Square?
I've actually never listened to Circle Takes the Square.
Oh,
What
they're
the
so
fuck,
good.
dude? Come on.
Dude.
As the Root Son do, like what the fuck? You would dig it, I bet. Fuck, yeah, it's sick.
I think we played with them once. Didn't we play with them in like Massachusetts or something?
No, you might have been Flesh and Blood. I don't know. I don't remember anything. So
I think we played with them at.
we might have. Fuck, I don't know, man.
in Worcester.
That's really cool if we did. I don't know.
I think we did it. I think they
played.
played that first Coalesce show or something, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Fucking sorry, okay?
Lil Beeb Slavic says Jimmy's the looks of the group. Got to agree.
Little
Jimmy,
Beeb Slavic's my wife, by the way.
Has anybody
Her
ever
name's-
seen Rick Woods? That dude's the looks of the fucking group.
My
dude's a
wife would
babe.
disagree.
So
Everyone say
Jimmy,
thank you to my wife. She's the one that she's the reason this record even got written. So,
Oh,
and she
shit.
took the photo for it.
Hi, Lauren.
Shout out to Lauren.
She's the best.
So Jimmy, what are your influences?
I have two extremes. Napalm Death and Waylon Jennings.
Okay.
I'm just those are my like two extremes. I don't know. I have all sorts of influences, tons and tons of drummers have inspired me over the years. Especially a lot of like newer people like Dave Bland from Full of Hell. He is an incredible drummer. JP Damron from Vermin Womb has always been one of my favorite drummers. It's just all sorts of people kind of influence me. I like all sorts of styles and
Bernard Purdy. Everyone likes Purdy Shuffle.
oh yeah. Bernard Purdy, man, getting some air in his hi-hat, I'll put that into some grind, I don't know, all sorts of people. I love all sorts of music, but my two extremes go from grind to basically outlaw country in like the change of a song. Like,
Okay. You
to
play in
where
a country band as well?
no, I don't think I would enjoy it. I think I would in a small way, but I just love, putting on some old classic vinyl and just listen to Hank Williams or Hank Jr. or Merle Haggard, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my country boy.
Ryan says you're a hell of a merch slinger.
My wife is. It's true. She's my
Oh,
Yeah.
wife. Okay.
Chonks Barkley knows the Purdy Shuffle. That's awesome.
Hell yeah. Someone watching the Drumeo videos.
Andrew Holiday says Call Me Irresponsible has some interesting pulsing sound in the second half. How did you make that?
So what I did is I was talking about I replaced all the drums with different sound samples earlier.
Mhm.
The kick drum was replaced by this kind of soul sucking like 808 style that had a sidechain compressor tied to it. So every time that hit, it would give a little suck, so it would pop through kind of thing. When it came to that part, it was the only part in the song where it kind of fluttered for kick drums. And instead of having them in sync, I off put them a little bit. So I created like a 64th note run. And because the one that was the upstroke was like a fake kick drum opposed to the acoustic, and it had the sucking effect on it, it made that kind of pulsing sound.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's anybody out there that engineers anything knows what that means. But,
The sucking
Sure does
sound.
suck.
I don't know, Andrew, if you understood that or not, but it's the best you're getting.
So, Drew, what are your influences?
Like for writing or my guitar playing.
Whatever you wanted to talk about.
Whatever. Oh geez. Well, I listen to so much music. I'm a mailman, so I walk 8 miles a day and I listen to music the whole time.
What was the hour count on your Spotify? Was it 14? How many? 45 hours?
Oh geez, no, it was 182,000 hours of Spotify for 2022.
Damn.
Was my
It
my
was
Spotify
ridiculous.
Wrapped.
Okay. Shit.
There were well, let me put it this way. So in between See You Next Tuesday of yesteryears and Distractions, I ventured off from playing metal for a long time. Two things of which I came across was one, I played upright bass in a gypsy jazz trio, which I don't know if anyone's familiar with gypsy jazz. It's a style of like 1930s French jazz pioneered by a guy named Django Reinhardt. I actually got to sit down and play bass with one of the greats, Joshua Stefan out of Germany. Did a couple shows here in Michigan with him. It was a wonderful time. He's fucking shredder.
That's crazy. What the
Look
fuck?
that dude up. I don't know if you know who Joshua Stefan is, but like he's one of those people, like if anybody thinks that I'm like half a good guitar player, that dude blows me out of the water. And Billy Strings was another big one for me. He's a local Michigan boy, which is weird because like everyone around here knows who he is. I mean, he won a Grammy and stuff, but he's a bluegrass guy and he absolutely fucking shreds on guitar. And I've always been into bluegrass, old school Bill Monroe and stuff. As I mentioned, I played mandolin. I've played mandolin since my 20s. During COVID, I bought a banjo. Before COVID even, I bought a banjo. But, I can play banjo a little bit. I pretty much suck at it real bad. But I got to upright and stuff. And so those are my two, like, not metal influences. I think, like, as a guitar player, those kind of shaped me the most. Barney Kessel probably being the third. I've always really loved those chords. People call them jazz chords, but I call them tension chords. They're riddled all over our records. The interesting chord shapes and stuff that create tension. And actually, I think being in a jazz band, I figured it out. In like Parasite, I felt like there was too much tension. There was never release. In Distractions, I feel it's, I focused on being like, okay, I can play just a goddamn power chord here. Like, it's fine. We don't have to have a major seventh thrown into everything. And I think that those two levels added a new dynamic to us. But as far as like music goes, like writing, there's two bands in 2020. I mentioned these before, but it was funny that you said black metal was something you heard in Distractions. There's this black metal band that just like fucking just threw me for a loop. So February of 2022, two of my now favorite bands put out great records. A band called Vizdood, spelled Weigedood. They're from like Scandinavia somewhere. I think they're on Relapse or Century Media maybe. But some of the most incredibly well-written and artful, like artsy fucking black metal. So goddamn good. And another one was Author Punisher, which I've been listening to him for a while now, ever since Beastland came out. But man, he's one of those guys. I watched that documentary he did. I don't know if you've seen it, the one he did during COVID.
No.
It's incredible. Like, go and watch like how he creates his machines and stuff that he does. Like, I think it's brilliant. And I think that just watching him create something on that made me reconsider certain things, certain elements of my electronic music. And that's how I was able to like push my boundaries for like the song, like I was talking about, Call Me Irresponsible. I didn't actually create any music there. I just made noises that triggered each other in a spastic manner, and it became musical. It didn't start musical. It was just an idea, and I didn't even know how it was going to come about. And I think a lot of electronic music making is that venture, as I'm sure like, Zombie Shark Dude's he's probably listening now, isn't he? My buddy. You'll probably contest to that. You do electronic stuff to some degree too. You ever get to a point where you just putting too many things in one fucking pipe, and then all of a sudden what comes out, it's like weird and distorted, and you're like, this is awesome.
That hasn't really happened to me yet. I have sometimes I've tried to throw too many instruments in at once, and it ends up being just a convoluted thing that I need to like just start cutting instruments. But
but without finding that, without getting to that point, you wouldn't be able to get to where you ended.
Yeah,
and I think just seeing that somebody could literally fabricate instruments like Tristan from Author Punisher did, I think it's jaw-dropping inspiration.
No, it's crazy.
If anybody hasn't heard of him, check it out. It's absolutely
Check out a video of him playing this.
yeah, fucking for real. I saw it live once, and oh my god. But yeah, I don't really. I mean that, and I listened to a fuckload of grindcore. Like besides those two bands, I mean like Cloud Rat, Last Days of Humanity, Rotten Sounds, yeah,
Triac.
Triac, yeah, just incredible. Yeah, Blast Beats. I ingest all of it. I mean, like probably 70% of my Spotify bands that I follow are just fast and blasts, man. But I walk all day long delivering mail, so it's that's my time to listen to music, and I think it's cathartic. Plus, I love inspiration. I'll pull inspiration from everything.
Oh yeah. Drinking Stitch in chat says what we're all thinking. We need the pupper's name, please. Yes, you're listening to watching Fox. So what's the pupper's name?
This is Frank.
Uh,
This is Frank.
That's my buddy.
The cutie.
Yeah, Frank.
I got 3 pups, but they're out there somewhere, probably sleeping.
Who's that?
Lazy buddies.
Who is that?
We got all the grind dogs.
Mm-hmm.
He told Fox to shush earlier. It was hilarious.
So
Hey, someone knew who Django was. That's cool.
I had a couple of people that mentioned it.
Oh, look at that.
So I'm assuming Drew, you mixed everything or recorded everything and mixed it, or how did that go down? Y'all didn't list a studio for the recording process.
You're looking at it. See
That's what I figured.
studio. That's that studio foam right there, man.
Hell yeah.
This SM7B is the one that Fox was screaming into.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the Slavic State Park Recording Studio here in Bay City, Michigan.
So how long did it take you to get the mix down just right?
It was a process the whole time, man. I was working on the record in every step of the way, the entire step of the way. You know what I mean? Like I started writing this record at the end of 2020, and I didn't finish until, well, it ended up being Fox and I finishing together in June 1st of 22. So I mean, it was
Jesus.
almost 2 years, yeah, a year and a half or so that I spent writing this record.
You weren't kidding that your process takes a while, huh?
Dude, I'm not fast. But, you know, I mean, we're putting a lot into each song. I'm not, you know, especially with this, like, it started as literally just a distraction. You know what I mean? Like this record, its name is not just clever. Like it's a distraction. It ended up being a distraction for Fox later down the road once he jumped aboard and started recording vocals as well. And by distraction, I mean like a positive distraction. It was distracting me from something that I didn't want in my life anymore. And it started as just like a tone journey. You know what I mean? Like I just got in my studio and started writing a guitar, you know, writing stuff and trying different guitar tones. And just my wife told me to buy a new guitar at the Christmas of 2020. She's like, we worked so much. I was a mailman during COVID and it was fucking ridiculous. I worked no less than 70 hours. Yeah. And yeah, so I worked a ton, and you know, I'll say it, you know, October 19th of 2020, I took my last drink of alcohol.
Oh yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. So I've been going on 30 months of sobriety from alcohol. And you know, some people can drink, some people shouldn't. I'm someone that shouldn't. And yeah, so I mean, I got this PRS guitar. My wife's like, you should get something really nice. And like, I've always wanted a Paul Reed Smith, but I can't afford those. But I could because I was working, you know,
ungodly hours.
5 hours. Yeah, because I was working a stupid amount of overtime. So yeah, I mean, it probably was a couple of months. You know, it was mid-January, I think, before I sent the dudes the first song. And the first song was rough. I mean, it was raw. You know, I just started experimenting with drum tones and, you know, the guitar tones were fucking trash. And the song was kind of like just hodge kebab together. And I sent it to them, and they're all like, "Yeah, that's neat." That was "What a Funny Girl You Used to Be." That's actually the first song I wrote. And like I said, it didn't sound great, so it didn't really have an impact on the dudes. And then a month later, I wrote "This Happy Madness," and then a month after that, I wrote "What a Crazy Dream" or whatever I had. I don't remember the name of that song right now. I'm having a blank. I'm sorry.
You're good.
But yeah, and it was at that point. So we're like 3-4 months into the process before I think I found like like a sound per se. Like the guitar started to sound really heavy, and like those songs are incredible. Like I think, I listen to those songs and I'm like, man, these sound fucking heavy now. And it was that point where I sent them to the dudes, and they're like, "Oh shit, Drew was writing songs." So that's kind of how it all kind of culminated there. Just a tone journey.
Well, you ended up getting it mastered outside of the studio by Josh Schrader. I feel like I should know this
Schroeder.
name. Is it Schroeder? Okay, I wasn't sure how to pronounce
Schroeder.
it. I feel like I should know this name, but I'm not. I'm drawing a blank.
He did Lorna Shore. He recently did both Lorna Shore records. So weirdly enough, so the Twat EP, the This Was a Tragedy, that was one of Josh's first recordings. He's a local here in Bay City, Michigan. He actually lives in Midland, Michigan, where I deliver mail. But yeah, that EP was recorded in his in-laws' basement here in Bay City, Michigan, like back in 2004. And then, so it's just kind of one of those like full circle things. Like, he's like super successful with Reason, because the guy is an absolute master at engineering. He has such a large part in all the bands that come in there to record with him too. The King 810 stuff, he's a huge collaborator with them on that stuff. It was just like stupid not to, he's right fucking there. And I texted him about it, and his reply was, I don't care if Good Fight gives me $50. I'm mastering the record. So it worked out.
So 8 Dead 9 if you count the tie says, "That's wonderful, Drew. Congratulations on sobriety. Inspiring."
Thanks, pal.
And Gargle Fart says, "Drew, you're the man. Glad you continued writing music."
Oh yeah, man. Thank you.
So now
Gargle Fart.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't feel like that would roll off my tongue well.
Shout out to that name.
So let's talk about the album art, which I forgot to bring up on before, and we just popped it up on. Okay, so what are we looking at exactly with the album cover?
I'll just start and take my wife's part, and then we'll pass it off to Fox. So the girl was to start it, I kind of came up with the idea that I wanted to do like a mixed media type of thing. I've always been a really big appreciator of art. And so I had this idea. My wife's a photographer. She's a wonderful photographer. And Fox is obviously like the most talented guy I know. So he can paint also, on top of the list of shit that he can do. And I was like, so I kind of started explaining the idea to him, and he's like, "This is stupid, but let's try it." And so my wife found this model. Her name's Marissa, and she has alopecia, so she doesn't have any hair. And she also, well, we'll get to that. Well, we hired her, and my wife did all the makeup. We put in like these white contacts so she couldn't even see and stuff. We took her to the state park here in Bay City, Michigan, and she shot all those photos of her. And we have like 100 or so photos. I was actually posting them during counting down, or the countdown to distractions. So we have different angles and stuff. We used them for different flyers. We did some t-shirt designs and stuff out of different angles from the same photo shoot. So it was kind of like a really early start to the whole plan. And then from there, I'll let Fox take it over, because from there, it was basically him. And I'm going to go pee real quick. So Fox, go.
Okay, I guess I'm talking now.
You're steering the ship.
So, like Drew said, this was like his idea, and I didn't really know how to execute his idea because it's something I don't like. This is type of stuff I don't really dabble in most of the time. What we were trying to like pull off with the artwork was more or less like somewhat show off the theme of the album, which was like almost like mental illness type stuff, with Drew, he had his shit going on with alcoholism. And with me, it was like a lot of different issues I had going on at the time that I'm sure we're not even going to touch base on, but more of like a schizophrenic type, like battles with consciousness type stuff. So I'm trying to figure out like how to manipulate these photos into something that would look cool. It started off with some subject matter that I like. There's like a theme through the albums in the lyrics of me talking about a thing called con.
Notice that.
And that's my consciousness. And I have direct, like in my tattooing type artwork and almost like fine art type stuff, I have a visual representation of Khan, which is like this really like whacked out skull. And the original idea was to try and like put the skulls in with the photo somehow. And with me painting it just did not work. I ended up like just painting over top of it. And in the midst of painting over top of it, I really liked like kind of like the swooshy, like paint mark stuff. And that I just kind of like rolled with it and just figured out different ways to black out the paintings in something that could look cool. I took a lot of inspiration from like that beginning sequence of the movie Seven. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not. Yeah. Just really fucking kind of awkward artwork stuff in notebooks.
I don't think so.
Wow.
Anyway,
that movie.
So yeah, it was just me kind of like trial and error, like fumbling through it. Once I got it painted though, everything seemed pretty cool. We picked out what we thought was best for the cover I painted 5 20 by 20 panels of that same image. These two both have one each. I don't even have one. But we picked out which one. Yeah, there's one of them. Oh, he's got 2 of them. There you go. You got 3 of them?
Damn. Alrighty.
Okay. We picked out which one we liked. Just kind of went from there. Started scanning them in and doing kind of digital stuff to them to make them look cooler. Ended up handwriting all the lyrics in for the vinyl stuff. Yeah, just tried to make it kind of reflect the chaoticness of the lyrical content.
So we got a couple people in chat saying, "Is that the What's in the Box movie?"
That is the What's in the Box movie.
Okay, I've never seen it before. I always wondered actually where that came from. So now I know.
Really, it's a very, very.
You should watch that movie. It's fucking amazing.
I mean, I guess I should.
It's absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely incredible.
It's a classic. Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's finest.
I saw in the theater.
Okay.
No big deal.
Andrew says, "Is the smiley face a representation of Khan?"
Not necessarily. There's a lot of smileys and frownies in the artwork, and it's more to represent like how fast moods can change. Like just how drastic. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people talking about like the movie Seven. I guess I need to check it. So we're gonna move into more random questions. Before we do this though, I should have warned you guys before we started. I'm gonna ask you what your album of the year for last year was. So if y'all need to like be looking into things. Also, I'm gonna ask you what your favorite show was and what your least favorite show was. I should have warned you at the beginning. No, like show playing, like y'all playing a show. So I should have warned you guys. So now I'm trying to like warn y'all for like later on or whatever. And Fox, I know you needed to get out of here. I can just shoot you a bunch of your questions if you're trying to like leave, or if you're gonna stay with us.
I can still stay on for a few minutes here.
Well, like I was gonna ask you what your album of the year was and your favorite show and least favorite shows. if you want.
Oh,
Answer
geez.
I can also go to another question and come back to it if you wanted me to do that.
I got to
Give me
think
a chance.
about the album of the year
Gotcha.
stuff.
So
I'm
let me
bad.
just
My memory's
start with a
garbage.
couple of random questions and we'll move back to it. So first of all, 21 to 22K streams just on Spotify on day one. How does that make you feel?
It was great. Yeah.
No,
Incredible.
that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like even for like large bands today, that's crazy. And for y'all to just like come back with this comeback album, like that's an insane fucking number. I just wanted y'all to like know how crazy that is. Like it is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Trust me, we're. Here's the thing. I get really choked up when people start talking about that type of stuff because it's just like it's kind of overwhelming for me. You know, like I'm not used to being so many people being so complimentary, but at the same time, like fucking thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see that. And, you know, even when we first announced, you know, the first single and signing with Good Fight and, you know, the album pre-orders going up and that vinyl, you know, selling out within like 2 days, you know, that's just an overwhelming response
less
to
than
this.
2 days. This is like 36 hours. We sold the first pressing of vinyl in its entirety.
That's fucking sick.
So
So how
it's
many
so
have been
awesome.
pressed
Thank you.
altogether now? Like do you know? Or what are the plans? I mean for them being
It's right around 2,000, I think. Now.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
Yeah, but there's there's like a bunch of variants though. You know, like the first pressing was 3 variants, the second pressing was 3 more variants, and then there was the Death Wish thing, which was really cool because the first so the first pressing we gave 50 copies to Death Wish Europe to sell for us just to see like their feet right over there. Death Wish works pretty closely with apparently my wife's home because my dogs are barking. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I apologize. They work really closely. You know, they did the end split and stuff with them, and they do all kinds of awesome stuff. And Death Wish, obviously, you know, it's a big Converge type of thing for us, and you know, we love that. And so we're really stoked about that. They took 50 of our records and sold them at Death Wish Europe. And they sold out, in a day and a half. So when we announced, or actually when we're in the midst of a second pressing, Good Fight just said, "Hey, Death Wish, do you guys want any more?" And they asked for an exclusive. So we did this really cool 3-color thing that we did 200 pressing, and 100 went to Death Wish UK or Death Wish Europe, and 100 went to Death Wish USA. And it actually ended up being one of my favorite variants too. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
So yeah, there's lots of really fun stuff, and then there's the white one that's out there at retail stores too. So if you got a local record shop, go support them.
I did see y'all had a test press out too that seemed like it had an alternate cover from the other ones.
Yeah, I got it back there if you want to see it.
Is it like screen? Yeah, get that. Oh, you got one?
We each got one.
I got it.
Oh yeah.
You got it, Jim?
Is it like screen printed or what's
Yeah, it's screen printed.
That's fucking sick. How many test presses are there? Do you know?
There's 30, and they're all hand numbered.
Did he grab it?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, those are all the variants. But show off the test press. Yeah.
Actually, one of the questions was 8 dead, 9 if you count. The device says, Jimmy, are you vinyl variant collecting distractions?
The answer is yes.
He has all of it.
Here they all are.
That's sick.
We also did 2 colors of the cassettes. So we did 50 of the lime green cassettes on Good Fight's website, and then we got 50 red ones that we'll be selling at shows live. So come check us out next weekend.
Yeah.
It has a completely different art layout as well.
Yeah, totally different art layout. It doesn't even have our logo on it. It's the first piece of merch since Fox joined the band and didn't have our logo on it.
So Fox, just want to make sure that we get your questions out of the way before you have to like run away.
You're good, man. Yeah.
What's the best show you guys have played, in your opinion?
So
by
far,
any metric, either like
ever?
so far. Oh, I mean, ever, yeah, like ever since you've been in See Next Tuesday. What's your favorite show?
Oh boy, I don't know, man. That's hard
We played
because,
so many fucking shows.
dude, between that Red Chord tour we did and then also the Hate Eternal Misery Index tour in Europe, like there were so many fucking amazing shows.
Here's the
That's
thing.
such an
too.
interesting like lineup, like Hate Eternal and Misery Index. I guess if you're
Yeah,
doing
fucking
intervals
great.
era, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and it was
that tour was
fucking
awesome.
amazing. And Aeon was on that too.
Yeah.
But oh my god, like that tour was fucking insane. Like almost sold out every night. Like, granted, it wasn't what we were used to playing it with, but it felt more like we were at home. Really, I feel like, at least to me. We were received pretty fucking well too, which
Yeah,
I
very
wasn't
well
sure how it was
received.
gonna go.
Is there like a specific show that you can like? back to
I'm
it?
trying.
You don't have to come up with one if you can't think of one. I mean, the good shows
I
are
don't
always the
know of a
ones that are like
specific
easiest to
show.
forget about. You know.
I have no idea, man. Like back in the day, it's such a blur
Right.
of like.
Well, like I was
tour
saying,
upon
also you don't
tour,
really
and-
remember like the best shows or whatever. You remember the worst ones. So, what was your worst
There's
show?
a lot of those. Oh, geez, oh, Pete's. I think we played. I had a number of bad instances happen at Peabody's in Cleveland. One time on the Red Chord tour, I was up doing vocals with Red Chord for Dreaming in Dog Years, and Sean, one of the past singers of From a Second Story Window, jumped on my back while I was doing vocals with Gunface's microphone, and as he jumped on my back, my head slammed into the microphone and broke like 4 of my front teeth off.
Jesus Christ.
That was fucking awful.
Holy
Another
shit,
time
that's crazy.
I rolled my ankle on stage to the point where it was like a fucking, like a cantaloupe. And in the middle of a snowstorm that we got stuck in, and we had to walk like, how far did we have to walk to a hotel because we couldn't even drive our van anywhere? Do you remember that, Drew?
Yeah, and then like
So I guess
went
it's
over
not
this,
necessarily
hill
the
and-
shows, but like, it's just like a bunch of shitty.
No, like the
instances.
background of the shows. Yeah,
happened.
that's like what people love to hear.
You know,
about is a lot
It's
of-
weird because Fox wasn't in the band when we did as much DIY stuff. Like, I don't want to cut you off, and because I know Fox
Oh, you're
has
fine.
some questions, but like all the shows that I think about when it's so hard because there's so many polarizing shows for me. Like I remember, we like just playing in like a garage in Pennsylvania, or not even in a garage, like in someone's driveway in Pennsylvania while it's snowing. Like we did that type of shit. I remember
That's
playing
pretty crazy.
we played a show in this was when Rick was in the band. We played it with the Harlots in Iowa City, Iowa, and it was this house show. And before the house show, we decided to go flyer, and we accidentally bumped into a Blood Brothers show that was going on. So we went inside this Blood Brothers show, got to watch the Blood Brothers, handed out flyers, went back to this house. It's like 3 blocks away. And we played in a fucking kitchen.
Nice.
It's like, all our gear piled up, like people standing on fucking a table and countertops and shit. And then everyone like fucking push moshing in the living room next door. But then at the same time, like it polarizes. We played at Yeeperfest in front of 40,000
I was just thinking
people.
about that. Yeah. I was just thinking about that as probably one of the coolest shows.
Yeah, like we played this huge fucking tent that probably had, 10,000 people in it or whatever. And, it's just so crazy to think about how polarizing things can be. But yeah, I mean,
That's sick.
we played a lot of really awesome shows that were packed and filled with people, but some of my fondest memories were some of the more DIY stuff.
DIY
Yeah, I was
shows
just
are
thinking
almost always
about, I don't think you just mentioned the show, but the one in California, more like Northern California, where the show got canceled. We ended up playing some kid's living room. I think,
yeah,
with Rose Funeral maybe or something.
And Slaughterbox or whatever.
Yeah, and it was just like in the middle of this residential neighborhood. people were jumping off the fucking staircase and fucking just going wild in
Yeah,
the fucking
and
living
then-
room.
Yeah, and then weirdly enough, oh no, I'm thinking of something different. So here's a really cool story. Fox will remember this. Remember Johnny Ayala?
Yeah, my man.
Yes. Yeah. So we this is a different California thing, but it was a similar situation. We played in, it was Boise, right? Boise, Idaho.
I mean, that's where he's from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he's living now, right? But we met him first in California. We played this show. It was like this beat down, like fucking LA hardcore show that we played, and it was just fucking packed, and no one liked us because we were playing grindcore at a hardcore show. Fast forward like a year, and we're coming through Boise, Idaho, and we're like pulling into fucking Idaho, right? Like, you know, we cross Oregon border and we see the cute little Orida sign and potatoes galore, and we get a MySpace message on our AOL sidekicks and stuff, you know, and the show's canceled tonight because, you know, some kid didn't put a deposit down on the hall or whatever.
Nice.
So we're like freaking out. We're posting stuff on MySpace, and here comes fucking. Oh, I should say that at that show in LA, we ended up staying with him and his mom, and they cooked us like food and stuff, and it was really very welcoming people.
That's sick.
Anyway, he ended up moving to Boise, Idaho. He messages us, and we ended up playing in his fucking garage in the middle of Idaho. And like all these people came out in the middle of basically the desert, you know, like Idaho's nothing. And I remember like it was this dirt road and like people. Like,
Sorry, Idaho.
Yeah,
Called him
sorry.
nothing.
Oh, well,
Idaho knows what it did.
well, you know, I mean, it's not the most populated state in the world. It's not
Yeah.
Texas. You know what I mean? I mean, Texas has a lot of nothing too, though, buddy.
That's true.
But yeah, and then we ended up playing this house show. We didn't even know it till we get there that it was him. And we're like, motherfucker, you're so cool. And his mom made
That
us
dude
chicken
rules
for
so hard.
breakfast.
His laugh makes me laugh, then my laugh makes him laugh.
Someone in
Really
Manitou in the
small
chat says that they played a random Reno skate park with you guys, Despised Icon and Suicide Silence, and
Oh,
he
fuck
also
yes.
played that spot in Boise too. Or in
Oh,
Idaho
nice.
too.
Oh, sick.
Drew, do you remember the Mexico City show?
Oh yeah, dude, that was super cool.
Dude, how fucking okay, that's probably top of the list, how fucking insane that was.
Well, the story leading up to it's even crazier. So like the show started, we're in Mexico City, right? And the show started, and during the first band, the guy wanted to like show us around a little bit. So we went and got some food and saw how beautiful the city is, blah, blah, blah. We come back and like there's all these kids poured out into the street. There's cops everywhere, and they got like their fucking little Uzis and stuff, dude, like military style. We're like, shit, show's getting fucking shut down. And then all of a sudden it was like, gone. Oh, everybody's go back to business as normal. And like the cops just came and saw that the show was successful. So they just fucking tried to shut it down. And the dude gave him half the take for the night, and the cops left. It's
What
crazy.
the fuck, dude? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
so then there was this like upstairs venue, and they crammed like 4 times the amount of people that should be in there. Like I remember all 4 of us were just like almost on the verge of death from dehydration from how hot it was. Because upstairs venue
It was
in Mexico
insane.
City with like 400 people in something that should maybe hold 150. And the weirdest
sick.
part about it is like intervals just got leaked on the internet during that time. So people knew the words to dedication, and it's not even out yet. And you're like, fucking Mexico, you know?
That's fucking sick. Holy sh- Is there video of that by any chance?
I don't
I
think
know
so.
there was. I don't know where it is though. There might be some on YouTube. I remember seeing some really shitty like cell phone footage back in it. You gotta remember this is like 2007 or no, it was 2008.
That was 2000.
Yeah.
That was 9.
Are you
So
sure?
and yeah, I'm pretty sure, because we started getting adventurous in 2009 with like Costa Rica and Mexico and stuff.
Okay.
What
But,
you said 2009?
No, yeah, it would have been before intervals. I'm sorry. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been just
Yeah.
because that came out in October. So yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, I think it was like July or something of 2008.
Yeah. Oh, I have
There is
See You
that- there
Next
is that-
Tuesday, Mexico City, 14 years ago.
Yeah,
But more than
probably.
likely.
Hold on. We got this.
It's the only time I
We have the
think
technology.
we've ever played.
It was a good time. Mexico is fucking cool. I really hope to get back.
Unfortunately, the video's kind of garbage. It's like
Yeah,
1p,
you know, it's just
but
old cell phone shit.
right. I guess I can give you an idea of what's happening though. That's fucking sick. I'm glad that at least exists, you know. Some kind of footage.
Oh yeah, I ate cow tongue for my first time that day too. It was really good.
What? Is it
Cow
good?
tongue? Yeah, it was really good.
Okay. It kind of seems like it would be like gamey or like I don't know, hard to chew. Or
No, it really bacony. Yeah, very like
bacony.
yeah, like fatty
Really?
meat tasting. Yeah, but chewy
Okay.
almost. Yeah, it was good. It's spicy. They spiced it up for you.
Dude, Travis was a madman, dude.
Yeah. Travis was a beast for sure. That's a fun
fucking
little
sick.
video. Ty was in 10th grade. Aw, that's adorable. Poor old man.
So, just real quick, Fox, so that you're able to leave if you needed to. What was your album of the year for last year?
Did that newer Frontier album came out last year, right?
No.
I want to
that
say
was 2 years.
2021.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, fuck me. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
That's all good.
I
You were
don't
saying you
really
don't really
listen
listen
to
to
newer
too much
stuff.
metal anyway.
yeah, fuck, dude. I'd probably think of something.
You like that
soon as I
18
get off
Visions thing?
the re-release of 18 Visions, Vanity. It was really fucking heavy. It was insanely heavy. It was fucking wild. Shit, man. I don't fucking know, dude. I just listen to electronic music and chill shit.
Oh yeah. Well, who's your album of the year for like electronic shit?
I don't know if any of them came out during the year.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
dude,
just don't
I
listen to
don't
new
keep
music,
track of this
period.
shit, and
Okay.
I'm like not the dude to be talking to about this shit. Unfortunately.
Carpenter Brute Leather Terror came out last year, Fox.
Did it?
Yeah.
I usually only listen to Trilogy.
Oh, well, fuck you then.
Yeah, fuck me, right?
Oh, you like that LLNN band?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh,
I
and
fucking
Pat
love
Brick.
that,
I
bro.
turned him on to Pat Brick. He loved
Yeah,
that
Pat
shit.
Brick and that LLNN, the Unmaker album.
Hazel.
That fucking thing is sick as fuck.
You know, I was
I love that
talking to the dude from Eyes last time, or time before last, and he was mentioning LLNN too. I haven't heard of them before that, so I guess I need to check
Dude,
them out.
it's crush. Did that Conjurer band put out an album too?
then. I'm not familiar.
Drew?
That was 21. I
Oh,
think.
okay. Well,
I'm pretty sure.
LLNN. We'll say that. They're fucking awesome.
This is Hazel, everybody.
Yeah,
She helped
second
me
dog.
write a lot of distractions.
This Hazel Basil.
Right, oh, Hazel Basil.
So you guys did an interview on Metal Injection in like 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
Travis,
Oh, boy.
your bassist at the time, said that your merch guys' sister worked at a high school in Connecticut, and that your shirts were banned there because it said "I love cunt" on it. And I thought that was just such a specific anecdote. Like, y'all aren't even from Connecticut; you're pretty far away from there. I just wanted to see, is that like true? Were your shirts actually banned at a
The-
school that you know of?
The part about some relative of a member, that part's false, but somebody did contact us on MySpace at some point, or it would have been MySpace still, and tell us like, hey, I wore your I Heart Cunt shirt to school, it got banned. Now no, and like they had an announcement about it and said that no one can wear See You Next Tuesday merch at all at their school.
That's fucking sick.
So I mean, our name is Cunt, I get it.
Right. Well, even just like were there shirts that just had your logo on it and shit? Were those banned too, or?
That's what that was told. I didn't.
That's fucking sick.
I don't know 100%. You know, people can say anything on the internet, but you know, I thought it was cool because you know that was the win for us, man.
No, that is badass. I was looking up this, trying to find this shirt that said "I love cunt" on it or whatever. Couldn't find that, but I found one that said, "I went to see the Red Chord and all I got was this stupid See You Next Tuesday shirt," and that
So
is
good.
one of the best merch designs I've ever seen. It's so fucking sick.
I love that shirt so much.
I'm definitely stealing that. If I ever go on like a tour with like a big band or whatever, we're doing a long whatever.
If we ever do some
absolutely doing
shows
that.
together, you have to do that to us.
That would be sick. That would be so sick. So you guys got vinyl, flags, CDs, hoodies, shirts, all at goodfightmusic.com. Definitely got to check that shit out.
We got a big cartel coming too. We wanted to wait till after the release, and focus on like the stuff that's centric around the distraction stuff. But like we're doing this tour next weekend, which I'm going to plug that real quick. 23rd, we're going to be at the Metro in Baltimore with some really awesome bands. Bandit, Constituents, and Under the Pier is going to be on that one. St. Vitus the next day, the 24th, we're playing with the fucking Banner again. Oh man, I miss those dudes so much.
I didn't even know they were
this
still
band-
around. That's crazy.
Yeah, they put something out not that a couple years ago, right?
Really?
Somebody
Still
confirm that?
crushing it. Yeah.
Still
That's
crushing
crazy.
it, yeah. Wreath of Tongues is on that. Bandit's with us the whole weekend. So 24th, we're playing Vitus. 25th, we're playing up at Rochester at the Metro. And then the 26th, we're going to finish off in New Kensington, Pittsburgh area, but the Preserving Underground, which is like a venue,
Ooh,
record
no, that's
shop
a great
thing.
venue.
We're super fucking stoked about it. So anyway, yeah, we have a bunch of really cool merch we've been posting up, including these like Real Treat camo hats that we got embroidered logos on. We are going to be doing some like leftover merch up on a website type of situation, as well as some other stuff in the coming months. So everybody that wants our merch that we keep posting up online, just be patient. You'll get it. I promise.
So you're talking about shows. Any other plans for more touring throughout the year? Or
Right now we have a little 4-day run we're doing with Meth out of Chicago. We're doing a little 4-day jobby do. I know it's going to be like we're doing like Louisville, Nashville areas over there, and that's going to be the end of May. We obviously, we played some Michigan shows in January. When we first booked those, we didn't know when the record was going to actually come out yet. We were still kind of waiting on the vinyl. Our label was really adamant, and I appreciate that about Good Fight. They were really adamant about making sure that we didn't release anything about us doing anything new. Obviously, because it was such a long time, we didn't want to just say like, hey, we're coming out with this stuff and maybe have a record or something. And, we're not Botch. We can't just like, flash a picture of like his pinky finger and be like, oh my God, Botch is getting back together. I'm going to buy everything. Or See You Next Tuesday, we're this fucking no-name grindcore band, right? So we didn't want to just announce it all at once. So we wanted to make sure, or we did want to announce it all at once. We had to make sure that the vinyl was done. So anyway, we booked these shows in Michigan. We do have some plans of a Michigan show. I mean, I don't know, we're talking maybe May or June. I'm not 100% sure, but we have some vinyl and stuff that we're going to set aside from the first pressing and stuff like that. Some cassettes and stuff like that we're going to hold off for a big Michigan show whenever it falls into our lap. Right now it's just with our jobs. We're all really busy people. We're all adults. We all have jobs. We all have families. We all have dogs. We got some kids in the mix. It is what it is. I can tell you right now, we're not going to hit the road and tour for 60 days. Not unless like for some reason this record makes us popular enough to actually do that and not like ruin ourselves. Like we can't just quit. Like bands that go on tour have to pause. We don't get to just pause bills, like they still
Right.
exist. So I know that sounds kind of bleak, but I'm not trying to make it sound that way. We're absolutely going to try to do everything we can to get out there as much as we can. We have some fests and stuff we're trying to be a part of. Again, we're kind of this band that came out of nowhere from 15 years ago. So it might take a little bit of time, but we're gonna do everything we can to get out there and play some shows for people. And we appreciate everybody that comes out to what shows we do have coming up. So just keep keep checking us out, man. We're gonna, keep it on social media and stuff like that, because obviously we'll keep announcing stuff as it comes in and stuff. So.
Hell yeah. So didn't really hear best show and worst show from Drew, unless you didn't have other ones you wanted to bring up. If you've got all the ones out.
My best shows. Well, I named off some really cool shows. Probably Eper Fest would be like my actest show. Worst show. I don't know. So I don't know. This one's kind of awkward to tell, but I'm going to tell it anyway. The day that Andy and Fox didn't get along, like it was one of the latter tours. It doesn't really. It's not a story we talk about a whole shitload. But when Andy parted ways with us and we got Chick Duham in the band. Long story short, 'cause I'm not going to get into it, but there was tension between Fox and Andy, and it was something that had been culminating from tour to tour, and it just kind of culminated all into one day. And then I remember, like, straight up, Andy was just had enough kind of thing, and just fucking threw his sticks down and walked off, and it was just the three of us, just like, oh, well, all right then. I'll play some Van Halen. That'd be the worst show, probably. But, we didn't. That only happened one time, and we didn't finish a set. So it is what it is.
Jimmy, I know you're new to the band, pretty much, but you played a couple shows, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I've done a couple shows.
Stories?
Jimmy, you're still here.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
how you doing?
Jimmy.
Good last meets, everybody.
My shirt's on still. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta remedy that.
So yeah, I've had some. I've actually had good shows and bad shows with the guys already.
We had a bad show already.
Well, me personally, like.
Oh yeah, because you throw up all the time.
Wait, what?
I get super anxious and nervous before we play every time.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Like to the point where I'm like dry heaving like 10 seconds before we go on stage.
Jesus Christ.
Fox comes back and checks on me throughout the show. We're both out of breath all at the same time, so he's my how you doing, coach, you know? Probably my best show that I think I played with these guys was our Sanctuary show that we played last month and sold it out. Just that show in general, like the vibe was super cool. The venue was super cool. It's run by our friend Maxwell. He used to play in Cinder Receiver back in the day and another band called Dead Church with Fox back in the day.
We had that in the music video, actually. We'll play that as you're talking
Here's my
about
wife,
it.
everybody.
Totally forgot about that.
Oh gosh, they're so cute. It's disgusting.
I know, we're adorable.
That was probably my favorite show that we've done so far. Probably my worst show was when it was on the same run. It was Chicago for me. Just hearing things on stage was really hard and kind of got off. I skipped a whole song and, but everybody knew what was happening. So it was like, we're good.
We skipped many songs throughout our
this.
days.
We were like, oh yeah, we're playing this song. And I was like, nope, we're playing this one.
It's crazy because, Jimmy's played in a bunch of bands. And I mean, he's a drummer that's really good. So obviously, like, everyone in the world wants him in their band. But, like, it's crazy. Like, in the short period of time, we've only played, like, how many shows? Like 6 with you, Jim?
Yeah, 6, 7.
6 or 5 or 6. I don't know, something. Not a ton.
6.
6. We played 6 shows together. The crazy thing is like, the ability for a band to, like, one person fumbles and everybody just kind of goes, all right. And then you don't skip a beat and everybody just keeps going on what happened. Like what he's talking about is he started the wrong song. And within seconds, Rick and I knew that we're playing Keys instead of Eternity. And we just fucking went for it. And we played that song and went, all right, can we play Eternity this time?
That's sick. That's how you know
Oh,
you
it is
guys like
7
work well together, is that you're able to do shit like that.
Yeah, for
Yep,
sure.
you're right. 7. Hey guys, I gotta bounce.
You're good,
All right,
man.
hey, Fox.
I gotta
Thanks for
get to
coming
date
in.
night
You're
with my
fucking
lady.
awesome.
There you go.
All right, man.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Pop
For
Fox.
having me. Appreciate you.
See you later. You're
Bye,
awesome.
guys. I'm go return some videotapes.
Probably. So yeah, that's worst shows with these guys. Played like Drew said. I've played in a bunch of bands. Kind of from around the scene in this particular scene.
Right, the Heartland. That's fucking sick. What?
Yeah, that was actually the first band that I ever tried out for. They were from the town next to mine, and a guy I went to high school with was like, "Hey, these dudes are looking for a drummer. I think you'd be a good fit." So I got in touch with Jonathan and learned the Blue Period and maybe one other song, but went to his mom's house and tried out and played in that band for a little while. Did a record with them called Two American Kids Growing Up, which it's never really seen the light of day.
I was gonna say I've never heard of that one before.
It's the album that happened before The Stars Outnumber the Dead, which was their Creep release. Drew was talking about like fun shows and stuff like that. There's a funny story that goes along with that where the Heartland, we were out on the West Coast and we had a bunch of shows fall through, and I think we ended up going to a mall somewhere in California, and this girl was there with her friends and said, I'm having a birthday party at my house, and this band called Grace Gale was playing just randomly at her birthday party. And they were on Creep. And so she was like, you guys can play my driveway. So we did this show in the Southern California neighborhood, but it was just awesome, like, desert mountains and stuff like that. And those guys from that band called Creep, their label, and was like, hey, you guys need to talk to these guys because they are sick. And that's how the Heartland got in touch with Creep.
That's sick. What the fuck, dude?
That was basically
imagine just casually coming across Grayscale, just like randomly. That's nuts.
Yeah. It was awesome. And, we did lots of stuff like that. Like Drew was saying, like, playing like really random places, like people's kitchens and driveways and things like that. And, back in the day, if you wanted it, you had to go out there and earn it. Like you had to sleep in your van with like 10 other dudes.
It never felt like earning anything to me. We just never wanted to miss a show. We just wanted to keep playing every night, every single night, But we had some of those bizarre, weird location shows were some of the best.
I could imagine like booking tours back in the day had to have been like ridiculous. Just thinking about having to like look up people on MySpace and message them, I guess. Have like an actual fucking map too that you have to like pull out. And,
yeah, dude, because we didn't even have a GPS. We used to have a binder and we'd print off all the fucking map
quests. Yeah.
And it was just from venue to venue. So if we stayed at somebody's house that was like 20 minutes out of town, we had to follow them there and then figure out how to get to the highway to start off on the directions that we had.
Can we borrow your mom's computer and print out this next map to the next show?
But like I was mentioned earlier with MySpace, it was a huge tool. Like I remember we are booking like our first like 30-day tour, right? And we did like 9 California dates, from all the way down. We did Tijuana, Mexico on that tour, which that was like the craziest fucking thing in the entire world. Every time we went to Mexico was insane. We played this like venue that was like the basement of a strip club that you went through this dark, ominous tunnel that was lit by candles. That went through this path that went underneath the city across the street, and then you were in this like full-scale venue. And it was fucking insane.
From dusk till dawn vibes.
Yeah, it was super, super crazy. But yeah, man, it was just like literally I mentioned earlier is we would just do show trades. So like I would make a routing, like I would be like, all right, look at a map and go, okay, we can go down to Florida and fucking zip around and and then you just start messaging bands, you'd look up, you you fucking start going down the rabbit hole and be like, okay, in Oklahoma City, Destroyer seems pretty popular. Let's check them out. Then you listen to Spider Bear Tales and Poop Your Dick, and you're like, holy shit, they're super good. And Dallas actually played bass for us on a tour once from Destroyer. And it's just one of those things, so it's like they're like, yeah, for sure, we'll get you guys a show.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're gonna get.
We've
But
met
yeah.
tons of fun bands that way. Like,
Oh yeah.
Great Redneck
For sure.
Hope and Tower of Rome and stuff. All those guys.
Yeah, you just make friends,
That's-
you trade shows, and that's just it, and yeah, you played a lot of like small. I mean, you've done it, Chris. I saw some of your pictures. You see success at shows, and then you play a Wednesday, and it is what it is. But like, if 7 people show up on a Wednesday in a tiny little coffee shop, and you get to fucking run around like a maniac screaming, then that's super cool.
Oh yeah,
that's-
just
that's
having
why we
anybody
do it.
come out to see you is fucking crazy.
Yeah. I wouldn't trade it for the world, like starting up that way. You know what I mean? Like it's weird because some bands people look at and think that they just blew up overnight, and nobody starts that way. Nobody just buys a guitar and like sits down with some friends and writes a record and put it out in the middle of nowhere and then just blows up overnight. Everybody has a path that they take. Somebody's is longer. But even bands like, 200 Stab Wounds, a lot of people Stab Wounds. I don't know why I said it that way. 200 Stab
Stab
Wounds. People, yeah, people give them shit because they came out of COVID, but like,
They're great.
Fuck, man. Yeah, they're fucking A, they're great. B, like, I wish I started writing Distractions at the beginning of COVID instead of drinking my way through most of the fucking year. And good on them. Like they wrote a record, put it out, it crushed people. They didn't play a fucking show, and people were just blown away. Like music speaks for itself. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I don't know.
No, yeah, there's a couple of bands where it kind of seems like they just come out of nowhere, but then you find out that they played like 200 shows the year before or something like that. And you're
Yeah,
like, oh, that
and
makes
nobody
sense.
even knew, because like they're just like, oh, the guy from Lorna Shore does this Big Squeal and blah blah blah. It's like, dude, that band's been around forever. You know what I mean? They got how many records they got before Pain Remain or the EP thing? They got like 3, right?
So I'm not really sure, but they do have a good
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't just show up the other day.
Right, right. Well, speaking of other bands, what are y'all's album of the year for last year?
I have a few, and probably
Go for it.
I'm gonna steal some of them probably from Drew, but I'm gonna go ahead and say them if he's okay with it.
Yeah, go for it. I already listed mine.
So Triac put out a great record last year.
Pure Joy fucking is absolutely start to finish pure joy.
Yep. Weege Dude, as Drew was speaking on
Yeah,
earlier.
There's always blood at the end of the road is, man, I can't say enough good stuff about that record, hands down. I remember like Jimmy and I just started talking on the phone, and right when he joined the band, obviously he knew like the Parasite stuff and he had to learn the intervals stuff, but the new songs, like they're wacky or, they're weird, it's different stuff. And so we spent a lot of time on the phone talking about the different parts and working everything out. And I've been listening to that band while writing the record. I got that in February of 22, that record, and I had it with me for 5 months. And it was one of those records again where I just went back and looked at things differently. But I remember like one of the first things I said to Jim is like, dude, you ever heard of Weege Dude? And he's like, no. I was like, you can't be friends until you listen to this record. And he ordered like 3 copies on vinyl within like a first week of hearing it. It's just like that record. It's just like, and then it doesn't stop.
I guess I gotta check that out then. What the fuck? I never heard of it.
It's really great.
So great.
What is it again?
It's called Weege Dude. Hold on, I'll pull it up here.
Oh, is it that band you were talking about from the
Yeah.
black metal band? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just unrelentless the whole time.
I know it looks like booby weezy wee, but it's
It
spelled
does.
backwards. But anyway,
That was another one. Two other ones I'll just mention super quickly. Vermin Womb's Retaliation came out last year. It's absolutely incredible. And Primitive Man put out Insurmountable, which is absolutely devastatingly crushing.
yeah. The only other
Yeah.
record I would say would hit my album of the year list, and I hate to say it, I didn't find out about it until like literally the end of the year, but fucking Trauma Bond, that what is it, Winter's Light? Oh my fucking shit, dude. Have you
Yeah.
heard that yet, Chris?
I don't think I've heard of them before. No.
Holy shit. They first off, they have like a Facebook with like 30 followers on it. They don't have any videos, they don't have a YouTube channel. Their Bandcamp has like a picture, it's a guy and a girl, and they look like they're like a folk singers, and they're like holding hands and stuff. But they're French, and it seriously sounds like fucking Pig Destroyer just got meaner and a girl singer and added in more electronic elements. It's just fucking crushes, man. That record
That's
rips
sick.
so hard. It's not even on vinyl. Like they just have digital release.
Yeah.
And it's
Huh.
incredible.
Do they have an Instagram?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say they have to have some kind of social media, right?
They do.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure if they care. They just put out, and the record sounds great. Like the production quality is better than Distractions, I think. Like it fucking crushes.
That's sick.
I'm jealous. The guitar tone on there is spot on.
Oh yeah. Ty says they're on Spotify, so he just added it. So
Oh yeah. Oh,
they're
you
out
haven't heard
there.
it? Yeah, I listened to it on Spotify. I listened that record. Because I like I said, I'm a mailman. I listened to that record every single day and have since I heard it, which was just after Christmas is when I heard it. I
Damn.
came to it late. I wish I came across that record earlier because man, it's so good.
So
I'm
is there
really
any?
passionate about music. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we head on out to the outro?
I don't know, man. Go
Come
listen.
hang out with us at shows when we're
Yeah.
playing.
Hell yeah.
Come
Well,
talk to us.
you should need to go check out Distractions, the first record from See You Next Tuesday in 14 years, or is it? What would you say?
Well, the last one came out in 2008. It's 2023, so I think that's 15 years.
Okay, well, I didn't know
Odd-
how like
odd
the years
year.
over.
Yeah, October
Yes.
of 2008 is when Distractions came out. Or I'm sorry, Intervals came
Okay, well, first record from See You Next Tuesday in 15 years, which dropped back on Friday through Good Fight Music. Definitely got to check it out. Any social media links you guys want to shout out? Like, obviously got Facebook and Instagram, all that shit. But is there? You were talking about a what do you call that? Oh my god, a merch
Big
site.
Cartel.
Yeah, Big Cartel. Yeah, we're talking about a Big Cartel. And are there
out.
other
Actually,
like things that people should be checking out?
yeah, two things actually. Well, one, our Big Cartel. I don't know how Big Cartel let me do this, but it is bigcartel.iheartcunt.com. Like IHEARTCUNT. Like they let me do iheartcunt.com.
Nice.
There's my Big Cartel link. So
They're probably
that's
gonna
really
ban
easy
you
to
from their high
remember.
school then, or
Yeah, I hope so. And also our YouTube channel. We've been a band that's inactive for 15 years. So like YouTube kind of came up during our inactivity. Obviously it existed back then, but I mean like it is another monster now. It's a totally different beast. But we put out a lot of content and we're really proud of it too. We did playthrough videos. We're going to put up more playthrough videos. We have some talks with some other people around the country that are interested in doing like some music videos and stuff, maybe even some cartoony stuff. Who knows? But
Oh, yeah.
we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel. So it's the same link at See You Next Tuesday Grind is our YouTube handle. Add us on there, man, because we're going to be putting out lots of fun stuff for sure. And there's a lot on there. Like we have so much content on there, and there's only like 600 subscribers, so they get to see it all.
oh hell yeah. And also right now to get merch, goodfightmusic.com.
Yes, absolutely. And at the we do have the For any European listeners, Death Wish Europe is carrying some shirts and our CD, as well as an exclusive Death Wish variant, which is my favorite.
Should I show it?
Yeah,
Show
fucking rip that bad boy out.
Should I whip this bad boy out? Let's see.
Cool.
Ooh. Oh my.
Here it comes. Andrew Holiday, do you have any last questions for us? There it is.
Eesh.
Whip it good.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, these are awesome. Great.
I think that's the one I'm gonna frame. I really like that, how that one turned out. I like that the yellow is like clear, like you can see through it. The pink's not, and then the black is just normal ass fucking vinyl.
Yeah.
It just speaks to me. I don't know. I love, like I mentioned with the cover art, I love mixed media, and that one just has that kind of vibe to me.
Andrew
And
says,
Death Wish put it out.
I just want you to know I love you. I love y'all, and I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy. We love you.
Go listen to Mouthful of Locust, everybody. You heard them yet, Chris?
Yeah. I think we had him on here. Yeah, we definitely had him on here. I'm pretty sure. I've had so many fucking people on here. I'm starting to forget, but I'm pretty sure we had him on here.
We had a great time with them at the Pyramid Scheme in
great
Grand
dudes.
Rapids.
They put on a hell of a show for sure.
Yes, they did. They had cow suits on, for fuck's sake.
What?
They really did. Yeah, they wore like giant cow suits. It looked like a fucking Chick-fil-A commercial on stage. It was great.
I was so hungry.
Oh, he says he said they were on.
No, yeah, I see that. I see
Andrew.
I thought that I had him on.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Ty, Ryan, and Andrew, thanks for coming out.
now we've had a good amount of people here for the whole time.
Oh, good. Listen to me babble on about shit.
So drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive emotes. Don't forget that you could do that for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube, folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at thesoundthatenscreation.bandcamp.com. Still got some tour leftovers. Probably going to take them off in like a week or two. My next guest will finally be Lower Automation. Had to reschedule this 2 times now. 3rd time's the charm. They dropped the sick record back in December. Everybody should be checking out. Join us this Wednesday the 22nd for the live cast. Thanks for being here, y'all. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Thanks for having us, Chris, for sure.
Hell yeah. And thank you guys for watching and listening.
Weapons for corporate crime. We seven will we